Something feels wrong, doesn't it? Doesn't quite feel kosher.
Are you worried people
I
are
like to stay kosher.
Are you worried people will impersonate you now that
Oh man, I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge. Something feels wrong, doesn't it?
You watched the episode?
No.
You haven't? Oh, it's fantastic. It's one of the greatest things ever on television.
Really?
It's extraordinary. You're not in it, so that's the one knock against it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, I never watch any of it.
Really?
If I can possibly avoid it, yeah.
You?
I mean, that's not, Brian, behave yourself. There are moments that I've watched. There are scenes I've watched, but I don't think I've ever watched a whole episode.
Really?
Yeah. My view is it's bad enough doing it without having to watch it.
You should check it out. Brian Cox is in it, and he's really good.
Yes. So
I don't know if you're a fan.
Well,
Do you watch some people just will not watch their own stuff?
I always think I look like the Elephant Man, you know. I do. I have this. I don't know. It's body dysmorphia. I can't. I look at myself and I think.
Brian Cox, I want you to know you're a very attractive man.
Oh.
It's true.
That's the nicest thing anybody said to me all day.
Hey kids, you want a soundtrack that's gonna make you feel tense, let you express your frustration, make you scared, wanna run out and buy a gun? You're looking for another rock and roll record that'll make you feel like a victim. You're like a victim, you love to be a victim. You love the United States primetime victim show. Hey, bells, helicopters, machine guns. Listen to that, listen to that. Kill for Allah, kill for Jesus. '80s shit. Turn it down. Tone it down.
You have the power. You have the power. You have the power. You have the power.
All that 1980s shit is over, brothers and sisters. We're gonna turn the volume down. Brothers and sisters, we're gonna shut down this mechanical stuff that makes us feel like victims. Take those machine guns and turn them down. Yeah, turn off those cop shows. Listen to those helicopters. Listen to those sirens. Make you feel nervous and angry. 1980 shit. Turn it down. Tone it down. Now I ask you in a quiet tone of voice. Is the helicopter a machine of pleasure? Is the helicopter a love machine? Turn it off. Silence those church bells. Fuck the sirens. Let's have some quiet silence. Yeah. I want to hold you close. You want to hold someone close. Hey, we want to feel good. I want to make you laugh. Turn down that victim shit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, isn't that better? Yeah, we want to look each other in the eye. We want to high five. We want to whisper. We want to whisper sweet things in our ears. I want to tremble your ear balls. Open your trembling ear balls. Listen. Turn that helicopter off, baby. We will not be angry victims no more. We're gonna say, yeah. Turn it off, turn it off. Turn that helicopter down. We're gonna say, yeah. We're gonna say, yeah. We're gonna say, yeah. We're gonna make it all work out. We're gonna have a moment of silence now. Turn down the machine. Turn down the helicopter. Turn down the crime time. Shut those guns down. Yeah. Isn't that better?
You have the power. You have the power. You have the power. You have the power. You have the power.
So you go travel on, go alone, travel on, vagabond. You're so tired, you're so weary, no place to lay your head, so you keep on moving forward to home. And for you, travel on, you've no place here, vagabond. Go alone, travel on, vagabond. When you go alone, when you're going for the throne, vagabond, see you never alone. All this time, vagabond, you were never far from home. Come home, vagabond, coming home. Come home, vagabond. You're not.
That is the biggest turtle I've ever seen.
Me too.
Other than a sea turtle.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Oh,
He barely fits in this container.
barely. All right, let's push it out. You pull, I push.
Start pulling. He's got a rope. They got a rope up there.
Okay. All right.
What's your name, Kiss Guy? Fuck it, I don't even want to know. Your name is Kiss Guy right now. You ever done this before? It's really fun. He bought his own fucking pin. This motherfucker. face is falling off. Come here. Kiss guy. Get the fucking kid. I'm gonna fucking scream this shit so hard. I'm not screaming for you. Are you ready? Taylor, let's break it down for Kiss guy. One last CD before I quit. I never wanted anybody. I could fit into my head. Shall remember everything. What she said, what that shit. Something, not waiting. Guess what day? Get past me. Come on, this guy. Holy shit!
Saturday, April 1st, 21 Rock, Arnold, Missouri, Dirty King, Stormraiser, and Sacred Fuzz. $5 and some non-perishable food items get you in the door to benefit our local Arnold Food Pantry. Saturday, April 1st, 21 Rock, Arnold, Missouri. Be there. Saturday, April 1st.
Teams in the various countries.
The answer is yes. Thank you. Have any moderation tools been used to remove content on TikTok associated with the Uyghur genocide? Yes or no?
We do not remove that kind of content. TikTok is a place of freedom of expression. And Cherish, just like I said, if you use our app, you can go on it and you will see a lot of users around the world expressing content on that topic and many others.
Thank you. What about the massacre in Tiananmen Square? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The massacre in Tiananmen Square.
That kind of content is available on our platform. You can go and search it.
I will remind you that making false or misleading statements to Congress is a federal crime.
I understand. Again, if you go on our platform, you will find that content.
Okay, thank you. Reclaiming my time, can you say with 100% certainty that ByteDance or the CCP cannot use your company or its divisions to heed content to promote pro-CCP messages for an act of aggression against Taiwan?
We do not promote or remove content at the request of the Chinese government. And we will replace.
The question is, are you 100% certain that they cannot use your company to promote such messages?
It is our commitment to this committee and all our users that we will keep this free from any manipulation by any government.
If you can't say 100% certain, I take that as a no. As I previously referenced, TikTok spied on American journalists. Can you say with 100% certainty that neither ByteDance nor TikTok employees can target other Americans with similar surveillance techniques?
Chair Rogers, I first of all disagree with the characterization that is spying. It was an internal investigation.
Yes or no? Can you do surveillance of other Americans?
We will protect the US user data and fire it all from all unwanted foreign access. It's a commitment that we've given to the committee.
So I guess my question is, I wanted to hear you say with 100% certainty that neither ByteDance nor TikTok employees can target other Americans with similar surveillance techniques as you did with the journalist.
Again, I don't disagree with the characterization is surveillance, and we have given our commitments, Chair Rogers. The 4 commitments, I think it's our commitment that we will not be influenced by any government on these issues.
DOJ is investigating this surveillance right now. To the American people watching today, hear this: TikTok is a weapon by the Chinese Communist Party to spy on you, manipulate what you see, and exploit for future generations. A ban is only a short-term way to address TikTok, and a data privacy bill is the only way to stop TikTok from ever happening again in the United States.
The glory, the fame, I yearn for it still. But as we all know, legends are rarely real.
Oh, fuck! I don't want to die! I guess that legend was real.
Shut the fuck up, Zane!
It's been 12 years since Rip Digman was fired by the Smithsonian. You have to wonder what Rip is even up to these days. I mean, my guess, he's just sitting at home, jacking off.
Somebody once told me
My whole life is going on digs.
You should start dating again.
The only dating I'm interested in is carbon dating.
the world is gonna roll me.
I know how you can become an Archie again and bring me as your assistant Archie.
No one's clocked you. Pun absolutely intended.
I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
We're off the hook, and we'll never have to think about the questions they were raising or ponder the ethics of what we're doing ever again. Power slide! Well, we're fucking dead. What are all these blue lines? Oh, I see. Those are letters.
They're not flying! I can hear their tiny brittle bones beneath my feet!
Oh, I think I just curved one. Now is not the time for jokes!
I didn't say anything!
I know, I'm just saying that now would be an inappropriate time to crack wise because our lives are in danger. I'm a goddamn Archie.
And me.
Sorry, who are you?
I'm Snurdly Tootbottom.
Oh.
So, you kill people?
Truth be told, this was my first time. I'm actually having a little trouble with it. Oh my God, what have I done? He had a mother saltine! Oh shit, I'm gonna boot.
Oh.
There's a lot the administration's plan seeks to do. At the heart of it, though, is breaking up this network that's basically operated like a monopoly for almost 40 years. Help us understand, how did it come to be that way in the first place?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think in many ways it's been that way because there's been a lot of inertia to overcome. In part, it reflects how the National Organ Transplant Act was written. And some of the requirements that HRSA has in terms of administering that contract. But it's great to see a desire to reflect on where we are and how we can get a lot better so that we can help our patients.
So that UNOS system relies basically on a network of more than 50 local organizations to both procure the organs and also help to manage the transplant process. And we should note that network is responsible for increasing the number of transplants performed over the years. But critics say that system has led to vast regional inequities. Where have you seen that shown up?
Well, I think for us in particular in the southeastern United States, particularly when you look at things like kidney disease, there's no question that recently we've seen an increase in the number of transplants, but that really reflects, sadly, an opioid crisis that's really increased the number of deceased donors as a result of that. But what those numbers don't reflect is the increase in discards that we've seen as a result of some of the new allocation systems. And currently, due to inefficiencies with our allocation systems as well as logistics, 1 in 4 kidneys are actually discarded in the United States or not transplanted. That's 1 in 4. That's 25%. And those are really lives that could have been saved if we could have utilized those organs.
There is the issue of the wait list as well. And we should note there have been previous attempts to fix the system. HHS back in 2021 pointed out that Black people were 4 times more likely and Latinos were almost 1.5 times more likely than white people to have kidney failure, but are less likely to be on those transplant wait lists and less likely to have transplants. Why is that? Why is it so hard to even get on the wait list in the first place?
It's a great question. Well, quite frankly, simply put, you have to have resources to be able to complete your evaluation and your workup to make it to the waiting list. So if you look, there are about 700,000 Americans that have kidney failure. Fewer than 100,000 are currently waitlisted for transplant. So we know not all patients who would benefit from transplant ever make it to the waiting list. And that certainly disproportionately impacts people who self-identify as African American or Black. And certainly social determinants of health drive a large proportion of this. So you see individuals who are from areas of high social vulnerability struggle to a much larger extent to make it to the waiting list and to achieve transplant.
Because it's Thursday and it's past noon. Thursday is one of my days off. On my off days, I start drinking at noon. You don't get to interrupt that. Because it's Thursday and it's past noon.
compiled all the Last of Us Part 1 motion capture in one big video. Enjoy.
Boys, movies, deciding which shirt goes with which skirt. It's bizarre.
Get up. We're leaving. Come on.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk? It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area.
Oh, f***.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
I'm not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel, but I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. No. No. No, no, no. Please. 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 Please don't. Please.
Man, that was close. Thanks for the heroics and all. Ellie. Hey, what are you... Joel?
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill!
Let me go.
Turn around and get on your knees. Just calm down a second.
Turn around
All right.
and get on your knees. Don't test me.
Just take it easy.
Any bites? Oh. Anything sprouting?
Oh, God, I'm clean.
If I see so much as a twig. Ow!
Stop!
Son of a...
You done?
Am I done? You come into my house, you set off all my traps, you here break my shooting arm. Who the is this punk and what's she doing here?
I am none of your business, and we're here because you owe Joel some favors. And you
Oh.
can start by taking these off.
I owe Joel some favors. Is some kind of joke?
I'll cut to the chase. I need a car.
Well, it is a joke. Joel needs a car. Well, if I had one that works, which I sure as hell don't, what makes you think I'd just give it to you? Huh? Yeah, sure, Joel, go ahead. Take my car. Take all my food, too, while you're at it.
By the looks of it, you could lose some of that food.
Listen to me, you little
You handcuffed
I
me.
need you to shut up. All right?
Whatever favors you think I owe you ain't worth that much.
Actually, Bill, they are.
Well, it don't matter because I don't have a car that works.
But there is one in this town.
Parts. There are parts in this town.
Meaning that you could fix one up.
All right. If I'm gonna do this, there's some gear I'm gonna need.
All right.
It's on the other side of town. Now you help me go gather it, and maybe I can put something together that runs. But after this, I owe you nothing.
That's fine. A couple of days from now, we'll probably be dead anyway.
Good. Follow me. Whole goddamn town's booby trapped. Best stay right on my.
Can't miss it.
Knock it off.
Oh, man. Hey.
There you are. You okay?
Better than that guy.
Search him. I'm gonna take care of his buddy, and then we quit this place.
Bingo.
Ellie, come on. Go.
This is our day and night. All we do is survive. It never lets up.
That is strong language from Antonio Guterres there, saying humanity is on thin ice, the climate time bomb is ticking. This is about as dire and urgent a report and a warning as we've heard. Why now?
It is completely justified. We scientists have been warning of the impacts of climate change on humans and all other life on this planet for decades, yet our carbon emissions continue to rise. As the IPCC report says, the window of opportunity we have to make decisions that will lead us to a better future is closing rapidly.
That increase in global average temperatures we've been trying to keep to 1.5 degrees Celsius, that it's often referred to as the tipping point. We seem to be hurtling towards that right now. Just as we cross that threshold, if we are to cross that threshold, help us understand, what does that mean for life here on Earth? For our viewers who have kids or grandkids, how would their lives be different?
1.5 degrees is not a magic threshold or a tipping point. Rather, it is a goal that we have set ourselves, knowing that the science is very clear. Every bit of warming matters. Every little bit that the planet warms carries additional costs with it. So how much do we need to do? As much as possible. When? As soon as possible. Why? Because we will all benefit from that action.
And if we don't, paint that picture for us. What looks different here on Earth?
Well, we are already seeing the impacts here today in the way that climate change is loading the weather dice against us. We know we've always had droughts and floods and hurricanes and heat waves, but in a warming world, they're getting stronger and more dangerous. And they're impacting all of us, but they are particularly affecting those who are vulnerable and marginalized the most. The warmer the world gets, the more it endangers our food supply, our water supply, the safety of our homes, our own health, our economy and supply chains, the natural environment. Every aspect of life on Earth, including our life on Earth, is at risk the warmer this planet gets.
So this
modern trans movement is using the LGBT community as a shield to push their radical agenda of mutilation, sterilization, and indoctrination of minors. And as a gay man who represents the organization Gays Against Groomers, I'm here to make it loud and clear. The LGBT community is sick of being used as a scapegoat for these destructive practices that are ruining kids' lives before they ever even had a fighting chance. For years, the LGBT community has fought valiantly for tolerance and acceptance in American society, and in the year 2023, we have achieved that. Now, all our progress is being erased because our community has been hijacked by trans terrorists. The LGBT community is being used like a Trojan horse by extremists in a death cult to ruin the future generation of our country by destroying their bodies, creating irreversible damage, and lifelong medical patients before these kids ever reach puberty. And make no mistake, the radical trans movement has become a death cult. Their most recent mantra is death before detransition. They're possessed by a sick obsession with bodily mutilation, self-harm, identity destruction, and pure hatred for anyone who dares to question this dangerous ideology. America is a free society, and as a patriot, I stand for the freedom of all individuals to make their own decisions about their own lives. But where we draw the line is children, minors who cannot consent. Yet that is exactly the demographic that these terrorists are targeting with their culture war. It's your kids. They say if you don't bend the knee and submit to their demands of gender-affirming care, which is the nice way of saying mutilation and sterilization, you are a bigot or a transphobe. And now LGBT acceptance in America is down for the first time in years. It's because people know that something is wrong and they're not on board with what's happening. It only takes a caring parent with a little common sense and gut instincts to know that permanently mutilating their child's body is much worse than being labeled anti-LGBT. Many now wear that label proudly. They say, if being against the medicalization of minors means I'm anti-LGBT, then fine, call me anti-LGBT, because good parents care more about the lives and safety of their children than catering to these rainbow terrorists. I'm here to tell you now, standing up against these bullies and wanting to protect your children is not anti-LGBT. In fact, the majority of LGBT individuals are against it too, like me and like our entire organization, Gays Against Groomers. And we are fighting for visibility to reclaim our community from the trans extremists, to stand up against this evil and destructive ideology, to stand in solidarity with parents, and to give a voice to everyone who knows on a gut level that this is not right, but is too afraid to speak out in fear of being smeared or labeled a bigot. It is not bigoted to want to protect children from elective experimental medicalization. It is common sense, it is compassionate, and it is scientific. The gay left, in collusion with gay media and gay advocacy groups like GLAAD and HRC, are promoting a narrative that the LGBT community supports the medicalization of children, but that is a lie. The LGBT community at large does not support this. It's only fringe radicals. This lie is funded by donor dollars brought to you by Big Pharma. That's right. These organizations are sponsored by corporations like Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, United Health Group, and other medical corporations who have a vested interest in turning your kids into lifelong medical patients because they don't see an innocent child with a bright future. They see dollar signs. It's funny. They call a group like Gays Against Groomers an anti-LGBT hate group, but the ideology of gender-affirming care is actually very homophobic. The truth is, the majority of gender nonconforming kids grow up to be gay, so in effect, they are erasing gays. Telling a masculine girl she's trans and needs to start puberty blockers deprives that girl of the right to explore her identity. What if she's a lesbian? What if she's just a tomboy? And telling a feminine boy he's meant to transition to female simply because he prefers playing with Barbies over trucks is outright sexist. At GAG, we see ourselves in these kids. Stop transing gay youth. Stop gay erasure. Save the tomboys. Stop the sexism. Stop using the LGBT community as a scapegoat for hurting children. This is a nonpartisan issue. Protect our kids. We are Gays Against Groomers, and we stand firmly against the elective medicalization of minors.
We will not be able to be smarter than a digital supercomputer. So therefore, if you cannot beat them, join them. AI and robotics will bring out what might be termed the age of abundance. Other people have used this word. The long-term aspiration for Neuralink would be to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence. And to achieve a sort of democratization of intelligence such that it is not monopolistically held in a purely digital form by governments and large corporations.
Basically, an effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes.
To beat machines, you basically have to merge with machines.
Most likely, yes. Essentially, how do we ensure that the future constitutes the sum of the will of humanity? And so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, it would actually make everyone hyper smart.
Okay, so
this is very esoteric.
Yeah, no, but you say this is more psi than phi, so you believe we're headed this way.
I believe this can be done.
When will I be able to get the interface implant?
It's probably on the order of a decade. And by the way, you kind of have this already in a weird way, in that you have a digital tertiary layer in the form of your phone, your computers. You basically have these computing devices that form a tertiary layer on your cognition already. Along the way, Neuralink is going to help solve a lot of nerve problems. Like, so, in fact, we're just talking about, okay, what would it take to really solve for spinal cord injuries? We already know how to do this. Implant electrodes into the motor cortex of the brain, and then bypass the severed section of the spine and have effectively local microcontrollers near the muscle groups. It could restore full limb functionality. Very exciting what can be done here. And it's just memory. Like, as people get older, they lose their memory. And as I was saying, it's incredibly sad when a mother forgets her own children, and that can be solved too.
I think that the brain-computer interface is extremely important for essentially achieving symbiosis with AI, because we're input-output limited. We're effectively a cyborg right now, where your phone or computer is an extension of yourself, but your input is bounded by the screen, and your output is bounded by your thumbs or fingers. So effectively, over time, we would drift away from a machine intelligence. Have a high bandwidth neural interface, then we can solve the I/O problem and go along for the ride symbiotically. Just as our cortex and our limbic system are quite happy together, and I've not met anyone who wants to delete their cortex or their limbic system, even though the cortex is in principle much, much smarter than the limbic system. And mostly the cortex is trying to make the limbic system happy.
We currently understand very little about the human brain. Do you also hope that the work at Neuralink will help us understand more about the human mind, about the brain?
Yeah, I think the work in Neuralink will definitely shed a lot of insight into how the brain and the mind works. Right now, just the data we have regarding how the brain works is very limited. We've got fMRI, which is that's kind of like putting a stethoscope on the outside of a factory wall and then putting it like all over the factory wall, and you can sort of hear the sounds, but you don't know what the machines are doing really. It's hard. You can infer a few things, but it's a very broad brushstroke. In order to really know what's going on in the brain, you have to have high precision sensors, and then you want to have stimulus and response. Like if you trigger a neuron, how do you feel? What do you see? How does it change your perception of the world?
You're speaking to physically, just getting close to the brain, being able to measure signals from the brain.
Yeah,
will give us sort of open the door inside the factory.
Yes, exactly. Being able to have high precision sensors that tell you what individual neurons are doing, and then being able to trigger the neuron and see what the response is in the brain, so you can see the consequences of if you fire this neuron, what happens, how do you feel, what does it change. It'll be really profound to have this in people, because people can articulate their change, like if there's a change in mood, or if they can tell you if they can see better or hear better, or be able to form sentences better or worse, or their memories are jogged, or that kind of thing.
What is the most exciting, or some of the most exciting things that you see in the future impact of Neuralink, both on the science, the engineering, and societal broad impact?
So Neuralink, I think, at first will solve a lot of brain-related diseases. So it could be anything from like autism, schizophrenia, memory loss. Like everyone experiences memory loss at a certain point in age. parents can't remember their kids' names and that kind of thing. So there's, I think, a tremendous amount of good that Neuralink can do in solving critical damage to brain or the spinal cord. There's a lot that can be done to improve quality of life of individuals, and those will be steps along the way. And then ultimately, it's intended to address the existential risk associated with digital superintelligence. Like, we will not be able to be smarter than a digital supercomputer. So therefore, if you cannot beat them, join them. And at least we want to have that option. Yeah, I think it's like fundamentally good, giving somebody back full motor control after they've had a spinal cord injury, restoring brain functionality after a stroke, solving debilitating genetically oriented brain diseases. These are all incredibly great, I think. And in order to do these, you have to be able to interface with the neurons at a detailed level, and you need to be able to fire the right neurons, read the right neurons, and then effectively you can create a circuit, replace what's broken with silicon, and essentially fill in the missing functionality. And then over time, we develop a tertiary layer. So if like the limbic system is the primary layer, then the cortex is like the second layer. And as I said, obviously the cortex is vastly more intelligent than the limbic system. It's important that Neuralink solve this problem sooner rather than later, because the point at which we have digital superintelligence, that's when we pass the singularity, and things become just very uncertain. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad or good, but the point at which we pass singularity, things become extremely unstable. So we want to have a human brain interface before the singularity, or at least not long after it, to minimize existential risk for humanity and consciousness as we know it. AI and robotics will bring out what might be termed the age of abundance. Other people have used this word, and that this is my prediction. Will be an age of abundance for everyone. I guess there's the dangers would be the artificial general intelligence or digital superintelligence decouples from a collective human will and goes in a direction that for some reason we don't like, whatever direction it might go. That's sort of the idea behind Neuralink, is to try to more tightly couple collective human will to digital superintelligence, and also along the way solve a lot of brain injuries and spinal injuries and that kind of thing. So even if it doesn't succeed in the greater goal, I think it will succeed in the goal of alleviating brain and spine damage. The way to think of the Neuralink device is kind of like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch that's where we take out a sort of a small section of skull about the size of a quarter, replace that with what in many ways really is very much like a Fitbit, Apple Watch, or some kind of smartwatch thing, but with tiny wires, very, very tiny wires, wires so tiny it's hard to even see them. And it's very important to have very tiny wires so that when they're implanted, they don't damage the brain.
How far are you from putting these into humans?
Well, we have put in our FDA application to have aspirationally do the first human implant this year.
The first uses will be for neurological injuries of different kinds.
Yes.
But rolling the clock forward and imagining when people are actually using these for their own enhancement, let's say, and for the enhancement of the world, how clear are you in your mind as to what it will feel like to have one of these inside your head?
Well, I do want to emphasize we're at an early stage, and so it really will be many years before we have anything approximating a high bandwidth neural interface that allows for AI-human symbiosis. And for many years, we will just be solving brain injuries and spinal injuries for probably a decade.
But your project Neuralink is in a way empowering human intelligence versus artificial intelligence. That's the purpose of it. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Neuralink, in the short to medium term, Neuralink is really just going to help cure brain injuries, and brain and spine injuries. So it's like if somebody is in fact, our first implanted devices in humans will be for quadriplegics, tetraplegics, allowing them to control a computer or a phone just using their mind. So like you can imagine, like if Stephen Hawking could just talk. Well, yeah, I mean, Neuralink, in the short term, Neuralink is just about solving, brain injuries and spinal injuries and that kind of thing. So to be clear, for many years, Neuralink's products will just be helpful to someone who has lost the use of their arms and legs, or who has just a traumatic brain injury of some kind. That's what Neuralink will be useful for many years.
But in our last conversation, you said that Neuralink is among all your projects, for you, the most important one. Is that still true?
I know I said it could be. I wouldn't say for sure it is the most important, but it could be the most important, in that there is a long-term mitigation to artificial intelligence, which is that we could effectively merge with artificial intelligence by improving the speed of interaction between our cortex and our tertiary layer, which is already silicon. We're already a sort of a 3-level intelligence creature.
We do want a close coupling between collective human intelligence and digital intelligence. Neuralink is trying to help in that regard by creating an interface between a high bandwidth interface between AI and human brain. We're already a cyborg in the sense that your phone and your computer are kind of an extension of you.
Just low bandwidth input output.
Exactly, it's just low bandwidth, particularly output. I mean, 2 thumbs basically.
I mean, the full story of Neuralink is quite complicated. The overarching goal with Neuralink is to mitigate the AI control risk, so that as AI gets smarter and smarter, we need to do something to enhance the bandwidth between ourselves and the machine extension of ourselves. Like, we are already a cyborg to some degree, in that our phones and our laptops and our computer applications are an extension of ourselves. But the bandwidth to the computers, especially to the phone, is very slow, where we essentially are outputting with thumbs, 2 slow-moving thumbs. This is a very low bandwidth situation. So I think from an existential threat standpoint, Neuralink is aimed at improving human-machine symbiosis, with the idea of ensuring that humanity can have a good coexistence with artificial intelligence. Now, in the short term, over the next several years, Neuralink will attempt to solve a number of brain injuries and brain diseases. So our first application, for example, is to enable someone who is a quadriplegic or tetraplegic to be able to control their computer or their phone just by thinking. And we've already demonstrated this actually with a monkey that can play video games and use a mouse cursor and click on things on a computer. And so we're very confident this will work. And hopefully we'll have our first human trials in the next 6 months or so.
the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, I instructed my team to act quickly to protect these interests. They've done that. They've done that. On Friday, the government regulator in charge, the FDIC, took control of Silicon Valley Bank's assets. And over the weekend, it took control of Signature Bank's assets. Treasury Secretary Yellen and a team of banking regulators have taken action, immediate action. And here are the highlights. First, all customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured, rest assured they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the Deposit Insurance Fund. Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them. Second, the management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. Third, investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works. And fourth, there are important questions of how these banks got into the circumstance in the first place. We must get the full accounting of what happened and why those responsible can be held accountable. In my administration, no one is above the law. And finally, we must reduce the risk of this happening again. During the Obama-Biden administration, we put in place tough requirements on banks like Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, including the Dodd-Frank law to make sure that the crisis we saw in 2008 would not happen again. Unfortunately, the last administration rolled back some of these requirements. I'm going to ask Congress and the banking regulators to strengthen the rules for banks to make it less likely this kind of bank failure would happen again, and to protect American jobs and small businesses. Look, the bottom line is this. Americans can rest assured that our banking system is safe. Your deposits are safe. Let me also assure you we will not stop at this. We'll do whatever is needed. On top of all this, let's also take a look at a moment to put the situation in a broader context. We've made strong economic progress in the past 2 years. We've created more than 12 million new jobs, more jobs in 2 years than any president has ever created in a single 4-year term. Unemployment is below 4% for 14 straight months. Take-home pay for workers is going up, especially for lower and middle-income workers. And we've seen record numbers of people apply to start new businesses, more than 10 million of them, more than 10 million applications over the last 2 years starting businesses. Now we need to keep this progress going. That's what swift action that my administration over the past few years is all about. Protecting depositors, protecting the banking system, protecting the economic gains we've made together for the American people. Thank you, God bless you, and may God protect our troops. See you in California.
Mr. President, what do you know right now about why this happened? And can you assure Americans that there won't be a ripple effect?
Do you expect other banks to fail, Mr. President?
Should all depositors be protected at all banks?
All right, thank you, everybody. In-town travel pool.
Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, I instructed my team to act quickly to protect these interests. They've done that. They've done that. On Friday, the government regulator in charge, the FDIC, took control of Silicon Valley Bank's assets. And over the weekend, it took control of Signature Bank's assets. Treasury Secretary Yellen and a team of banking regulators have taken action, immediate action. And here are the highlights. First, all customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured, rest assured they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the deposit insurance fund. Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them. Second, the management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. Third, investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works. And fourth, there are important questions of how these banks got into the circumstance in the first place. We must get the full accounting of what happened and why those responsible can be held accountable. In my administration, no one is above the law. And finally, we must reduce the risk of this happening again. During the Obama-Biden administration, we put in place tough requirements on banks like Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, including the Dodd-Frank law to make sure that the crisis we saw in 2008 would not happen again. Unfortunately, the last administration rolled back some of these requirements. I'm going to ask Congress and the banking regulators to strengthen the rules for banks to make it less likely this kind of bank failure would happen again, and to protect American jobs and small businesses. Look, the bottom line is this. Americans can rest assured that our banking system is safe. Your deposits are safe. Let me also assure you we will not stop at this. We'll do whatever is needed. On top of all that, let's also take a look at a moment to put the situation in a broader context. We've made strong economic progress in the past 2 years. We've created more than 12 million new jobs, more jobs in 2 years than any president has ever created in a single 4-year term. Unemployment is below 4% for 14 straight months. Take-home pay for workers is going up, especially for lower and middle-income workers. And we've seen record numbers of people apply to start new businesses, more than 10 million of them, more than 10 million applications over the last 2 years starting businesses. Now we need to keep this progress going. That's what swift action that my administration over the past few years is all about. Protecting depositors, protecting the banking system, protecting the economic gains we've made together for the American people. Thank you, God bless you, and may God protect our troops. See you in California.
Mr. President, what do you know right now about why this happened? And can you assure Americans that there won't be a ripple effect?
Do you expect other banks to fail, Mr. President?
That was President Joe Biden addressing the rescue of 2 failed banks over the weekend. The key phrase which he used twice was rest assured. He said that to all Americans, rest assured the banking system is secure and safe. And in particular, rest assured to the depositors of the Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank that they will have access to their funds starting today. Another key moment, he said, quote, no losses borne by taxpayers in supporting these 2 institutions. For more, let's go to Weijia Zhang, who was also listening in at the White House for us. Weijia, good morning again.
Good morning, Tony. You nailed it. President Biden really wanted to express calm, to make sure people did not panic and that there wasn't some sort of, mass exodus of people trying to pull their money out of their banking system because they were reacting to what happened here. And that is exactly why the president tried to reassure Americans many times during his remarks that the U.S. banking system is safe. To your point, he also wanted to stress expressed that no taxpayer dollars would be at risk as a result of this. He said that those responsible, those working in the bank, will be fired if the federal government takes over, and that investors will not be protected. He said, sure, the people who were depositing money, this is not their fault, so they will be protected, but the investors will not. So, Tony, you did hear him walk away when he was asked the reason for all of this. Of course, that is what experts will be analyzing, especially with regard to the backdrop, which is inflation rates, as they continue to be an issue for the president here. Tony?
Yeah, the president taking no questions this morning, but Weijia, I know you'll have questions for him later. I want to go now to Errol Barnett, who is outside Silicon Valley Bank's headquarters in Santa Clara, California, where people are apparently taking a trust but verify approach, lining up already, waiting for this bank to open. Errol, good morning.
Tony, good morning to you. This bank won't open for another 4 hours, but this morning we've been speaking to customers of SVB who have been here for an hour already because they want to be sure they get access to some of their funds. Just take a look at some of the people lined up early here this morning. One of these companies is a digital imaging company that uses artificial intelligence, for example, to create images that hospitals can use. They are appreciative that the government is taking a dual approach in that the bank will be punished, but customers will get access to their funds. However, they don't feel as if they're out of the woods yet. These customers don't know how much money they will have access to and the amount of time it will take before they have all of their funds. And so they're nervous about payroll, they're nervous about future plans, but certainly relieved to hear they should have some of their money for now.
Nerves are understandable, Errol. Thank you very much. Understanding is another key here, and we've got CBS News business analyst, our financial expert, Jill Schlesinger. What stood out to you? What was the president trying to say?
I think this is a real moment where the past experience of 2008 gives a lot of information to the Fed, to the Treasury Department, and to the president. And the president is saying, everyone calm down. You're going to be made whole. Even if you had more than $250,000 on deposit at this bank, even if you were not entitled to FDIC insurance, we're going to make you whole. And I think the other aspect that was incredibly important was that he said the depositors are going to be saved. The banks, their shareholders and management, they will not be saved. That is very different than 2008. This is not a bailout. This is a rescue for depositors only.
Not a bailout, a rescue for depositors. There'll be political significance there as well. Also on the politics front, regulation came up in that speech. What kind of regulation?
Well, right now, when we came out of the 2008 crisis, remember that the government said banks have to have a certain amount of money on hand to meet their requirements that are basically beefed up liquidity and capital requirements. Small to medium-sized banks like Silicon Valley Bank lobbied to have those regulations reduced. This so-called tailoring went into effect in 2018 under the Trump administration. I suspect that that tailoring is going to be reversed under the Biden administration.
All right. One of the 20 biggest banks in America failed on Friday, and the administration moving today to cauterize that wound. We'll see if it works. Our coverage continues on CBS News streaming, your local news on this CBS station, and tonight on the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell, which originates out of D.C. Many of you will now return to CBS Mornings. This has been a CBS News special report. I'm Tony DeCopel, CBS News, New York.
Well, you just saw the special report and the president speaking about the plans in place to secure the money that has been put in the Silicon Bank. I think that, you know, when he said sorry, now I'm having kind of many things to think about. But the issue with this bank is that the primary customers were startups. And startups don't have a lot of money. They take their money in and out quite frequently. And so it's not like this is a bank that serviced me and you. To that point, I want to bring in an owner of a startup. Let's bring in Alex Meshkin now. He is the co-founder and CEO of a healthcare startup called Flow Health. He's been
glory, the fame. I yearn for it still. But as we all know, legends are rarely real. Oh, fuck! I don't want to die!
I guess that legend was real.
Shut the fuck up, Zane!
It's been 12 years since Rip Digman was fired by the Smithsonian. You have to wonder what Rip is even up to these days. I mean, my guess, he's just sitting at home, jacking off.
Somebody once told me my whole life is going on digs.
You should start dating again.
The only dating I'm interested in is carbon dating. The world is gonna roll me.
I know how you can become an Archie again and bring me as your assistant Archie.
No one's clocked you. Pun absolutely intended. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. We're off the hook, and we'll never have to think about the questions they were raising or ponder the ethics of what we're doing ever again. Power slide! Well, we're fucking dead. What are all these blue lines? Oh, I see. Those are letters. They're not flying!
I can hear their tiny brittle bones beneath my feet.
Oh, I think I just curved one. Now is not the time for jokes!
I didn't say anything!
I know, I'm just saying that now would be an inappropriate time to crack wise because our lives are in danger. I'm a goddamn Archie.
And me.
Sorry, who are you?
I'm Snurdly Tootbottom.
Oh.
So, you kill people?
Truth be told, this was my first time. I'm actually having a little trouble with it. Oh my God, what have I done? He had a mother saltine! Oh shit, I'm gonna boot.
Oh.
I'm Pan, and this is my partner, Teller. You may have heard vaccination causes autism in 1 out of 110 children. Fuck that. Total bullshit. It doesn't. But let's imagine it does. We'll compare 2 groups of children. Teller's group gets no vaccinations. My group does. I'll use this plexiglass to represent the vaccinations. Oh, that's bad. My vaccination wall knocked 1 of the children out of line. That's our 1 in 110 with autism. In the 1920s, before the diphtheria vaccination was common, there were 13 to 15,000 deaths a year from that disease. If you got it, your chances of dying were about 40%. In 1952, just before the Salk vaccine became common, there were about 58,000 cases of polio. If you get unlucky, you might end up permanently disabled or dead. Meningitis, hepatitis A and B, flu, mumps, whooping cough, pneumonia, rotavirus, rubella, smallpox, tetanus, chickenpox. Chickenpox. We have vaccinations against all of them. Which side do you want your child to stand on? So even if vaccination did cause autism, which it fucking doesn't, anti-vaccination would still be bullshit.
Нью-Йорк улсыг дэлхийд дахин дэвшиглүүлэн тун хөөлөж эх хорон элэг нэгт нүүдээ өмөх шуулангүй хүү хамтлаг ард санхүүгийн нэгдэлтэй хамтран Metaverse анхудаа Meta Rock концертыг зохион байгуулахаар ажиллаж байна. Виртуал орчинд олон улсад болох ураг тоглолтыг ард санхүүгийн нэгдлийн технологи болон санхүүгийн баг бүрэлдэхүүн нэгдэн дэлхийд даяар хархан байгаа хүү хамтлагийн фэнүүдэд тунгадахгүй хүргэх гэж байна. Хүчтэй хамтдаа.
Where's Ride the Lightning? Where's Ride the Lightning? Why is it on the list?
It's not voted for.
Why?
Because these people have said...
Who didn't vote for Ride the Lightning? Tell me right now.
All those people out there.
I want you to go out there and ask them fucking why. One day I want to fucking play it. Fucking Ride the Lightning. Fucking Unforgiven 2. Fucking Saint Anger. Fucking Where's Ride the Lightning?
This deer was in the middle of the road, frozen, scared, when a man who saw it got out of his car and helped the deer to the side of the road and made sure it knew it was safe. Legendary. This deer was in the middle of the road, frozen, scared, when a man who saw it got out of his car and helped the deer to the side of the road and made sure it knew it was safe. Legendary. This deer was in the middle of the road.
Yes, sir. I'm sending this out to the Hi-Fi Indy and the Hi-Fi Annex in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hey, Larry McCray is coming in at February 24th. It's going to be a Friday, and I'm coming to play the blues. I hope some of you down there want to hear this Michigan boy come and play the blues because we got a lot of good intentions. We want to come and make some new friends and have you come and listen to some good tunes. Come on down and check us out. Doors at 8 o'clock. I would love to see you there. Larry McCray knocking at your door. Thank you, blues fans.
City Center, United 387, flight 360.
United 387, Kansas City Center, good morning. Derelict balloon at your, 10 to 11 o'clock and about 15 miles. Altitude reported above flight level 500. Report when you have it in sight and pass it for me.
All right, we have it in sight. We'll let you know when we pass it, 387.
Thank you.
And for American 2561, I don't know if you want to know when we passed it, but we passed the balloon already.
Okay, thank you. And American 398, there's a derelict balloon approximately at your 10 to 11 o'clock at 45 miles. Altitude reported above flight level 500, advising you have it in sight when you're passing, please.
Well advised, American 398. You got it inside American 398, about 11 o'clock.
Fred.
Is that Chinese spy balloon?
No comment.
An average fire truck is about 40 feet long and 12 feet wide, so it would just fit inside of the fairing. And just as we reuse the Falcon 9 first stage, we recover and reuse our fairing halves as well. The fairing halves that we're using today are flight proven, and on one half it's going to be its 4th flight, and the other one's going to be its 6th flight. We are planning to attempt to recover these halves using our recovery vessel, Doug, once they return to Earth. Propellants have been loading on the vehicle since the T-minus 35-minute mark. Falcon 9 is a bipropellant vehicle, which means it uses 2 propellants, a fuel and an oxidizer. For Falcon 9, our fuel is a refined form of kerosene known as RP1, and our oxidizer is a super chilled liquid oxygen called LOX. The liquid oxygen is chilled well below its boiling point, so it becomes what we call densified, which means it has a much greater amount of mass per volume, and we can load more of it onto the booster. In addition to its propellants, Falcon 9 also needs an ignition source in order to go, and for that we use the chemical compound TTEP, or triethylaluminum and triethylborane. When it's fully fueled, Falcon 9 holds just over 1 million pounds of propellant that the vehicle will burn through in less than 3 minutes after liftoff. Currently, fuel is fully loaded on the first stage and second stage. Liquid oxygen is almost done loading on the first stage and should wrap up on the second stage around the T-minus 2-minute mark. And although weather is still a watch item, the latest weather forecast shows we're about 80% favorable for liftoff. Again, the vehicle, satellites, and range are all also looking good for a on-time liftoff just over 6 minutes from now. Roughly half of the world's population, or nearly 3.6 billion people, do not have access to the internet. Last year, the Starlink teams worked closely with the Chilean government to install the first Starlink kits in Latin America. Both the Chilean government and nonprofit Enseña helped identify and connect 6 remote schools that lacked reliable, high-speed internet services. The first Starlink kit in Latin America has been installed in the region of Sotomo Alto, a small fishing community in the south of Chile. Thanks to Starlink services, students in Sotomo Alto and 5 additional communities are able to enjoy richer learning experiences. In other news, the teams here rolled out Starlink Premium this week. Starlink Premium has more than double the antenna capability of our regular Starlink service, which translates to faster internet speeds and higher throughput. It's designed for super users, whether they be individuals or businesses, to help ensure bandwidth for critical ops even during times of peak network usage. Deliveries start in Q2 of this year, so if you're interested in reserving a spot, you can order now by heading over to starlink.com. So we are just under 5 minutes from liftoff. Falcon 9 is progressing into the final stages of the launch countdown. Next up, the truss structure next to the vehicle, known as the transporter erector, will start to retract. In preparation for the retraction, the TE clamp arms will open, and then the strong back will begin to pull away from the rocket slightly, and then at T0, hydraulics pull the TE even further away as Falcon 9 lifts off. The TE is next to the Falcon 9. It provides liquids, gases, and electrical connections to the second stage, as well as air conditioning to the payload. So you can see there are some clamp arms just underneath the fairing. We are expecting those to begin to open up here in just a few seconds. And after those start to open up, that structure next to Falcon 9 will begin to back away from it. And you can see that right now that the clamp arms are indeed opening up. Both the first and second stages should finish loading propellant about a minute apart from each other. The first stage should finish up loading its propellant around the T-minus 3 minute mark, and the second stage around the T-minus 2 minute mark. At 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown, and just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we light the Merlin 1D engines, and then we are set for liftoff. On screen right now is a view of the fairing, and then the strong back right next to it, you can see, has begun to retract away to its pre-launch position.
Stage 1 lock load is complete.
There was the call out for stage 1 LOX load complete. In about a minute, we should hear the call out for stage 2 LOX load complete. The Starlink payload continues to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. So just over 2.5 minutes until liftoff. If you're just joining us, this is the sixth mission for us this year, and the third Starlink mission for us this year. So on screen is a view of Falcon 9. That booster is flying for its 6th time today. It's currently stationed at Launch Complex 39A.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And with that call out, we have wrapped up propellant loading not just on the second stage, but for the vehicle overall. You can start to see some white clouds building up around Falcon 9. This is normal and expected for us at this stage in the countdown. That is that super chilled liquid oxygen that we talked about earlier. When it reaches the warmer ambient air temperatures of Florida, those clouds start to form.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
At this point, both stages are beginning to pressurize for liftoff, and we are expecting the launch director to give the final go for launch here in just a few seconds.
Launch director, go for launch.
And with that call out, all systems are go for launch. Let's listen in to terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes our 49 Starlink satellites into orbit.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff, Starlink 47.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
M1D chamber pressures are nominal.
We are T plus 40 seconds into liftoff. Falcon 9 has successfully cleared pad 39A and carrying our stack of 49 Starlink satellites into orbit. Moments ago, we began to throttle down the engines on the first stage in preparation for max Q. This is where the vehicle will experience the highest amount of aerodynamic stresses during ascent.
Max Q.
And there was max Q. We are getting some great views of this daytime liftoff. In about a minute, we have 3 events happening in quick succession. First up is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, followed by stage separation, and then second engine start 1, also known as SES1. During main engine cutoff, this is where all 9 Merlin engines on the first stage will shut down in order to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation.
And back engine chill is started.
During stage separation, the first and second stages will separate from one another. The first stage will make its way back to our drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean for its landing attempt. And the second stage will continue with the third event, which is second engine start 1. This is where the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will ignite and continue to propel the second stage along with the 49 Starlink satellites into orbit. Those 3 events should be happening here in about 20 seconds.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed. Fairing separation confirmed.
So we've had successful main engine cutoff, successful stage separation, successful second engine start on the second stage, and then also fairing deploy. On screen right now, you can see the first stage booster at the bottom of your screen making its way back along with the 2 fairing halves. They've deployed. They were at the top of the screen, but they'll make their way back towards Earth and be recovered by our recovery vessel, Doug. As a reminder, those fairing halves, one was flying for the 4th time, and the other was flying for its 6th time. So a couple of views on screen right now. On the right-hand side of your screen is a view of our single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. Those Starlink satellites that we have been talking about, all webcasts, those are located on the opposite end of that engine. On the left-hand side of your screen is a view from the top of our first stage looking down. Its job right now is to head back towards the drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas, and make its 6th landing attempt. In order to make its way back, the first stage has 2 burns today.
Both vehicles are on nominal trajectories.
The first is the entry burn, where 3 of the Merlin engines will reignite, and this helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is the landing burn. This is a single engine burn that will bring the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on our drone ship. The first burn is expected to start around the T plus 6 minute and 47 second mark, and the second burn is going to be starting at the T plus 8 minute and 26 second. So we are still a few minutes away from the next milestone. The Starlink satellites that we're going to be delivering today, we're going to be delivering them to low Earth orbit, and they'll be operating at about 550 kilometers. Most satellites are at 36,000 kilometers in altitude in geostationary orbit. And when satellites are farther from Earth, the round-trip data time between the user and satellite, known as latency, is much higher, resulting in poor performance for activities such as video calls and online gaming. Starlink satellites operate at over 60 times closer to the Earth than traditional satellites, resulting in much lower latency. Things continuing to go well for both stages. on the left-hand side of the screen, we see some action. Those puffs of gas, that is nitrogen from our attitude control system. That, in conjunction with the grid fins that you see on screen, those help to steer and orient the first stage as it makes its way back to its targeted landing zone. So we are about 20 seconds away from the first of 2 burns on the first stage. 3 engines on the Merlin, 3 Merlin engines on the first stage will reignite and help to slow down that stage before it hits the denser parts of the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there are those 3 engines that have reignited. This burn is expected to last for about 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Awesome. That is 1 of 2 burns successfully completed.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
In about a minute, we have a couple events happening in rapid succession. So we'll have the landing burn start on the first stage, and then as that is ending, and as our first stage is going to be attempting its 6th landing on our drone ship, we are expecting second engine cutoff on the engine that you see on the right-hand side of your screen, followed by the call out for successful orbital insertion. And as a reminder, because we won't have ground station coverage during the time that the Starlink satellites separate today, we will be ending our webcast
Stage
after
1
we confirm orbit of the second stage, and then we'll confirm deployment on our social media platforms. Just under 10 seconds away from the landing burn of the first stage. For now, we are enjoying some
Stage 2 is in
great
thermal
views
guidance.
of the second
Stage 1
stage
landing
Merlin
burn.
vacuum engine. So you can see that the drone ship is getting closer. And on the right-hand side of the screen is that drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas.
Stage 1 late deploy.
Does look like the video cut out for a little bit. And hearing some cheers here in Hawthorne. And there's visual confirmation that the first stage has landed for the 6th time. And this marks our 106th overall successful recovery of an orbital class rocket. That includes both Falcon 9 and Heavy first stage landings.
Good orbit insertion.
So during that time, we also got a successful second engine cutoff of the second stage, and you just heard the call out for good orbital insertion. And as previously mentioned, although payload deploy is scheduled to occur around the T plus 15-minute mark, we won't have ground station coverage to confirm successful deployment until about T plus 1 hour and 20 minutes. For those of you that are interested, we'll keep the audio-only countdown nets up on our YouTube channel, and then we'll confirm successful payload deployment on our social channels. But that is going to be bringing our webcast to a close today. Thank you to the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission. And of course, thank you to all of our viewers and all of our Starlink customers using our service at this time. Thanks for joining us for our 3rd and final launch of this week, and we will see you again soon.
try again tomorrow. Not every bad day can become a good day. Some days are fucked and cannot be unfucked. When you have a bad day, give up. Go home and sleep. Fuck it. Try again tomorrow. Not every bad day can become a good day. Some days are fucked and cannot be unfucked. When you have a bad day.
You know, the thing that would happen between me and Tom, who's superb, by the way, what an actor. We were so far apart, and I couldn't hear what he was saying because there was so much noise, and he couldn't hear what I was saying because there was so much noise. And we were like, every time Chris Nolan, the director, was going, guys, you're not answering each other. Like, well, we can't hear anything. So Tom and I would say my line, and then I would go like, with my finger, and he'd know, I'm done, your turn. And then he would do his bit, and then he'd go like that, but a bit more, you know, discreet than that. Hopefully no one notices it in the feature film, but that was how we communicate.
Now I feel like I have to watch it all over again and look for the little hand signal.
Catskill, New York, weighing 217 pounds. His professional record consists of 37 wins, 1 defeat, with 33 KOs. He is a former, undisputed, heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
All right, so with the introductions, the referee, Richard Steele, calls the two combatants to the center of the ring. There's the tail of the tape. You see the differences there. 6 years in age, 2 pounds in weight, and about 4.5 inches in height, favoring Henry Tillman. Tillman will be dressed, as you see, across the way in the white, and here in the black trunks, solid black, is Michael Tyson, the former heavyweight champion of the world. Most think that Tyson, being the prohibitive favorite, will come out real fast, but Tyson has been a very determined fighter and part of his career, and he does look like he's on the assault early to me. Mike has something that he wants to show here. This is exactly what I expected from him. They said he wasn't aggressive enough against Buster Douglas. He's aggressive right now. He's just powering and pushing Henry Tillman around right now. He wants to go for a knockout early. He wants to punish this guy for what Buster Douglas did to him. He looks like a madman on his face. Mike Tyson is not going to have Henry Tillman around here very long. Although Tillman got a left hand through, didn't bother Tyson at all. Tyson is a determined young man tonight. As he comes back, misses the left hook. He's very aggressive. He's not using that jab that we heard so much about in his training. He kind of flicks it in there a couple of times, and Tillman ties him up. Now, you remember against Bone Crusher Smith that they just tied him up constantly all the time. But Mike Tyson tries to punish Tillman to the body. We're in round one. Just underway here in round one. Bob Sheridan on the Don King Sports and Entertainment Network. And Tyson has come out here to really fight very, very aggressively. Again, we want to welcome all of our audience around the world, especially those on TV3 in Auckland, New Zealand. Chris Myrons and Clint Brown, who are joining most of our telecasts that involve Mike Tyson, the next few anyway, and we're glad that people down under can be with us all over New Zealand and Australia. Welcome to TV3. Wow, with the right hand. The left hook catches Tillman. Midway through round number one, and Tyson isn't finished yet with this guy. Tyson is not fooling around one bit with this guy, not giving him any breathing room at all. Tillman is trying to stay on the move and does the proper thing if you're fighting Mike Tyson, and that's tie him up inside. Now Mike is staying out where his punching has so much power. Watch for his left hook and his uppercut when he gets inside, and Mike will hit you anytime. He'll hit you coming in, he'll hit you on the break, he'll hit you with a looping right hand, he'll hit you with a left hook. He's got Tillman shell-shocked already, and the thing hasn't even really got going. Mike really tees off when he gets inside on him. This is the Mike Tyson that we saw so effective, knocking out 33 of his opponents. Tillman has a look of fear in his eyes as Mike Tyson just goes headhunting. Richard Steele, the third man in the ring, has got his work cut out with Mike Tyson. Oh, the right hand! I doubt if he'll be able to get up from this. He hit him flush on the jaw with the right hand. It's up to 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. It's all over. Tyson, a first round knockout. Mike runs across the ring and tries to help his friend Henry Tillman up. There's pandemonium in the ring as Tillman tries to get to his feet. He caught him flush with a right hand that knocked him out cold. And Mike came running across the ring and almost looked like he was mad at something, but we saw immediately that Mike Tyson wanted to help his wounded friend. So that answers the questions of what Mike Tyson will do when he comes back. It came at 2:47 of the first round. It was a big right hand, a very, very aggressive Mike Tyson. Wow, what a right hand. By the way, James Buster Douglas is in the audience here, and you have to wonder what he's thinking. I think he's thinking he's glad he has to fight Evander Holyfield before he faces this guy again.
Question we ask often on Cycle Drag stirs up some debate, but multi-time champion Donnie Huffman is clearly a yes. Donnie, why all the negativity when it comes to electric motorcycles?
I don't know.
What's your impression of this bike?
It's consistent. You know, it loves the track, but its home is in the mountains. I mean, I think I'd said that before, but I mean, it's so dependable. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to worry about gas prices.
Just how about being able to find chargers? Is that a problem?
No, not really.
Very cool.
Charge points around area and stuff. You can 45 minutes. You're fully charged.
Cool bike. Harley Livewire. Donnie Huffman.